Welcome to today's webinar titled Grow Your Computer Science Program. My name is Mary Carnahan, and I am the e-learning resource specialist with the Department of Education, and I am producing today's webinar. We will get to today's topic in just a few minutes, but first I have a few housekeeping items to share. I've muted everyone's line as you join the meeting. Please keep your line muted to minimize background noise as we go through our hour. We hope that you will use the chat that you should see on the right side of your screen. Use that to not only ask questions of the presenters, but also to share your own thoughts and ideas of things that you're doing in your own computer science program. And as you utilize that chat box, make sure that you select everyone from the two drop-down. That likely defaulted to send your message just to me, but we want to make sure that everyone on the call can see your messages. And as you ask questions, either our presenters will answer those during their presentation, or somebody will chat back with you and answer that question. And any questions that we don't get to during the presentations, we'll try to answer at the end of the hour. Hopefully we'll have some time for that. For all of our webinars, we award 1 PGP for participating in the live webinar. I will send those PGP certificates out to you to the email with which you've registered either Wednesday or Thursday of this week. Also, we are recording the webinar, and that will be posted to our eLearning Lab YouTube channel next week, late next week. So I will send a link to that YouTube channel along with your PGP certificate in the next couple of days. I believe that is all that I have for my housekeeping. I now am going to turn the mic over to Jake Russell, who is our computer science specialist, and he is going to introduce our topic and today's presenters.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you everyone for tuning in this afternoon and joining us in the next hour or so. As you may know already, next week is National Computer Science Education Week. And so we just wanted to take a little bit of time today to hear from some practitioners in the field across all grade levels to kind of talk about what computer science looks like in their schools or buildings and different strategies that they have used to grow those programs, to recruit additional students and broaden participation in computer science. And then we will also hear some ideas for Computer Science Education Week activities that can be used to generate excitement about computer science, and just generally any particular catalysts that have made a difference in their school with regard to computer science and expanding the computer science programs that exist. So we're very excited for our 4 presenters today. They all collectively have a wealth of knowledge and years experience with computer science, again, across all grade levels. So first we'll hear from Genevieve Petty. She teaches K through 6 computer science at Cold Spring School. And then we'll hear from Maria Sellers, who's at South Vermilion Middle School and teaches computer science there. And then we'll finish off with 2 high school computer science teachers, Julia Alano from Hamilton Southeastern and Patty Cushing from Area Career Center University. So at this time, I'll kick it over to Genevieve.
Okay, can you hear me? All right, thanks, Jake. Okay, so I'm in a rare situation. I didn't realize how rare until I started meeting other people, and that is that I teach K-6 computer science as a related arts teacher. I'm while working on their STEM certification, opted to get rid of their media center specialist. I went and got that license too so that I could serve that role in the building. So I see all 350 kids in our building, K through 6, at least once during the course of the week for a class. In addition to that, I have kind of taken a approach of figuring out that it was more about what I could teach the kids by way of tools that I could then help the teachers use within their classroom. And so I have started doing lots more professional development with the teachers on a voluntary basis, such that they can work with me and I can come into the room and co-teach with them whenever possible so that they're more comfortable using technology and things that we have in our building. We also have a robotics team for which I am the co-coach of the competition VEX IQ team, and I head up our junior robotics team, which I'm going to tell you is huge. If you have an elementary program and you can do the Dash and Dot Wonder Workshop competition, it's all online. We do it with our families, and our enrollment is $350, and we figure, so you figure the K through 3 of that is about half in our building, is about half. So we have a third of our student body attends of that age group attend our junior robotics, and they bring their parents, and we do that once a week. We also have a Girls Who Code club because Julia Lano told me that's what I was supposed to do, so I got right on that. So we started Girls Who Code club here as well. I'm fortunate to also be part of a group. The DOE is having, it was a Ford NGL group for PBL writing and training. And I have been able to work with the teachers to create some really great cooperative units this year that have allowed the teachers in our building to say, oh, wait, I want your help. Come with me. Come show me what you're doing. So, for instance, our 4th graders made videos and a series of different documentations. We made presentations and brochures, music videos, brain break videos about how to care for our grounds and to take care of the environment of our building. So while the 4th grade teacher was working on teaching persuasion, I was teaching the green screen as well as some digital editing, and we were doing the brochures and the presentations. So that was a lot of fun. And then that led into a much more involved project with the 6th grade, who the 6th grade teacher came to me. I had taught English for 20 years prior to doing this job. So she was trying to work on sensory images, and we wrote a unit around horror stories that evolved into her teaching the different components. But then while the kids were with me, they were given a shell program for a shell file for the 3D printer, and they created monster characters that were costumes for Ozo and Eva for the Ozobots, and then had to code using Ozoblockly their way through a designed set that they created in our environmental science and engineering class. So we worked on all of that together. It turned out we're finishing up this week. It's been really fun and cool. So we try really hard here to say, what are you teaching? Let me help you do that. So the 3rd graders were doing maps, and so I took the kids on the grounds with iPads, and we took pictures of things on the grounds and worked with using distance applications and software to figure out how we can use those things. So the teachers in our building who want my help, which is getting a much larger number of them, will submit to me their lesson plans. They'll email them to me and say, hey, this is what I'm doing the next couple of weeks. What have you got for me? What can we work on? Additionally, on the Tuesday morning professional development, I talked about is Tech Tuesday. I just provide donuts, but I try to do really shortened lessons on the technology things that I have used with the kids in the class so that they know how to use, your line, Ozobots. They know how to do things with the Dash and Dot robots. And so I can teach them that stuff, and then I can teach the teachers how to use that within their room. So My favorite example, we have a first-year teacher who gives her spelling tests now by having the children draw a line and make a line, use a line bot to spell out their spelling words. And so the kids are, it's just a toys to make something more interesting, but at the same time, they're my kindergartners and first graders can tell you why a line bot works, how a sensor works, and what it's looking for. So that's interesting and fun. And then we are constantly working on ways to improve embedding in our building. And so that everything seems very cohesive. We don't want to have it be that at this point we're doing computer science, at this point we're doing environmental science. We're working on that all going together much better. I have had much better luck in this past year with the teachers than I did last year, partially because I was newer to them and also because the students have started kind of like asking for it of the teachers. They'll say things like, well, when we did this in this class, we were using this thing, or even the PE teacher and I have worked together on some stuff because they'll come and they'll say, so the kids want to play with and use the things that you're doing, so help me figure out ways to do that. So that is the basics of Cold Spring Environmental Science, which, like I said, we're a K6. We will be a 7-8 in the next 2 years, but right now we're still a K6. So our kids are getting exposed early and young. And then I think I'm supposed to, week of code real quickly is my next slide. I think she's going to switch it. There we go. Okay, so because I come from a long line of people who believe you go big or stay home, and because our school is a STEM school and we try to do a lot of focus on things that are academic based, we're doing week of code in a large way. So we're starting, we have a week you can see listed there. We have Dash and Dot Day, which is the robots that most of the kids use. So the stripes and solids. Rep Your Video Game, we're talking to the kids about the fact that everything that they do is coded. That, everything that they're used to doing, the apps and all that. So they have a video game. T-shirt day. I'm most excited about Wednesday. We're comfy coding, and the kids are all wearing sweatsuits and bringing blankets. And we're going to put all 351 kids in the gymnasium with the device for an hour. And that day we will do our manifesting large event. Thursday, we had to work in the fact that we're also having a choir concert. Our winter program, not Christmas, is Motown. So because the functional coding was in the late 50s, as was Motown, we decided that she and I could work that together. And then the last one is just Cold Spring Coders, so the wash, spirit, wear. We're doing an all-school assembly on Monday. Some of the teachers have worked with me. We're going to do a stomp dance pattern in order to talk about algorithms. On Wednesday, we have the all-school coding extravaganza. On Thursday night, when we have the winter program, the students in the 6th grade and 4th grade specifically who have worked on projects with myself and their teachers are going to have those on display during that concert. And Friday, we're having a coding carnival for all the students to attend. We have partners that are also coming to speak in some of the related arts classes that week. But then we have other outside groups and parent volunteers and all of our related arts teachers. We'll all have a carnival game that we will set up. We're trying to get as many of them coding based as possible, but we also don't want to lose sight of the fun carnival aspect. And so we'll have cotton candy and popcorn the whole 9 yards. But so we're going to have a carnival on the final day that we're calling our coding carnival. So I am also have provided all of the teachers, they were all given a survey. They could tell me if they wanted me to completely rewrite their lessons or they wanted me to help them or if they were good on their own. Most of them wanted me to do at least give them the materials. So during our STEM time, which we're PLTW school, so we do 45 minutes of PLTW every day. So next week we will be hour, and every classroom will do an hour of coding activities that I have written up and provided for them every day, in addition to the school-wide activities. So we're trying to do an all-in, exciting, fun thing that week. And the principal has come up with a couple of challenges that he's going to work on for himself as well. And I think that's my 15 minutes. Did I do good, Jacob? Yes, I am excited about this carnival. It's going to be so much fun. The kids are too. I'm doing my absolute best to be as huge of a geeked out nerd as I possibly can about all the things next week. The fact that they are going to get to play my 4th through 6th graders have Minecraft, and I should tell you, if you have that in your budget and you're not doing coding, by all means, that was a deal breaker for me as far as getting 4th and 6th graders to do things, because I can create assignments and things that they are coding with me while I am in the game with them, and then I have the ability to move them. So if they aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, I can literally pick up their character and put them in timeout. I also have the ability to give them special things that they can't otherwise get. And so Minecraft has been amazing. And so the 2nd and 3rd graders, because code.org will have the Minecraft stuff, I will let them use Minecraft next week. So they're pretty excited about that. Okay, so next up is Maria Sellers from South Vermilion. Woo!
Awesome. Hello, can you guys hear me? Am I good to go? Excellent. So I'm at South Vermilion Middle School. It's a little bit in the middle of nowhere, just a little bit north of Terre Haute. We are a small school corporation, and our computer science is just functioning in our middle school at the moment. Next year, the plan is to expand both directions. So my plan isn't as big, but we're doing some fun things to get the kids excited, and that's our big goal. Next slide, please. So when we got started, they gave me full freedom and a small budget, which was doable, but I had to be creative. So I decided to start with code.org in the classroom and Sphero EDU, which was fantastic. Bringing in some robots that they could program really did hurl up some excitement. And in the past, I have talked about the miniature golf course that I actually put in place for the 8th grade students. That will again happen this year, but with Sphero Minis, so it's even more realistic, which will be fantastic. But the big two that we added just this past year and now this year, Girls Who Code came into play last year thanks to Brandy Hicks prodding me a little bit and saying that you need this. I can't believe you don't have this. And that was an incredible opportunity. And then we added a 3D printing lab this year to get some more excitement with some individuals. So I'll talk a little bit more about the Girls Who Code on the next slide, please. So when Brandy brought it up to me, I really sat down and thought about, is this worth my time? And the more I thought about it, it was definitely something that I would have embraced in middle school. I wasn't a big athlete. I loved music and I loved computers. And it would have been a great place to belong. And so I went ahead and jumped because I recognized that I had a lot of young ladies that would fit into that same category, belief system, kind of skill level. Next slide, please. And so once we launched it, I just had it open up to 7th and 8th grade girls due to the way our schedule works in the middle of the day. So I now have a group of combined 7th and 8th grade girls. Some are extremely creative, others are not creative at all. Some of them just really want to help other people. A lot of my group, they're just trying to find that perfect place to fit in where their skills are extremely useful. And some girls just absolutely love computers. They'll do anything in the world for me when it comes to computers. So that's been an interesting journey for me. Next slide. And so last year we did get into building websites quite a bit. I had students get into video making, and we actually hopped on board after a lot of the bus accident incidents last year. They created their own movie team and created some films, but to do that, we had to build a website and embed their YouTube channel into this and gather some excitement in the community, which eventually we did get there. So we had to learn how to gain traffic onto a website, what coding had to happen in the background. We had some talks about metadata, which were quite large. but we brought in some former computer science students from the high school to help us out with that. So it was fantastic. This year, our project is rather large. I'm not allowed to tell you a lot of details. I asked today, and they swore me to secrecy on some of it, but I can tell you we are delving into creating and building an app, as well as exploring the collection of data, which then takes us into some really serious security aspects, because the project focuses on helping foster children. And when we get into that, there's some big security that we have to get involved. So we're looking at data, but we're also looking at how do we secure our data and how do we protect these students that we're trying to do something awesome for. And so that's about all I'm allowed to tell you. But I think it's going really well. And there's some awareness that I don't think this group of girls would have had they not jumped into Girls to Code. A lot of them were just unaware that, foster students, we've got to be very careful about what we find, what we collect from them. And of course, we have a responsibility to protect that data as well. So that's been fantastic for those students. Next slide. So this is I just had to include this picture. So this group right here, they're in charge of marketing and being the liaison between the group and our building administrator. And so Kate is in this picture. She is super, super creative. She comes up with ideas that I would never imagine. Penelope is an incredible designer. She does a lot of digital design, so that has come in handy. And Georgia loves people. She can talk to anyone, and it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And Marley basically wants to save the world, so she jumped aboard and is doing a fantastic job with this. Next slide, please. And so while Girls Who Code, it just sounds like a group of girls who meet. I have 16 girls right now who are just so excited they can't stand it. They get excited to run in here and start learning more so that we can move forward with the project. And they're making a big impact because the project we're doing is actually going to bring in a lot of the community, and that's a big deal. And again, I wish I could tell you. I can tell you the name of the project is Mend Your Closet, but that's about it. So look for more information. We'll be sharing that probably in the next month. Next slide, please. So what has happened with the Girls Who Code, my boys are quite upset. They want to know where in the world their club is. Why don't they have a club? Why are the girls getting all of the attention? And that's a good thing. That's what I want. So we're definitely drumming up some excitement about being in a computer science-based club and really digging into computer science. And that's, of course, brought up equity, and that's what my next slide is all about. Getting to talk to the people in our school corporation that we need to really focus on equity, not so much equality. We've always tried to make sure if the girls have, the boys have it, but what's the equity issue here? So if we look out, we see more men in those careers, and we need to get those girls out there because as I'm seeing, they're super creative and they're willing to learn a lot and jump into computer science, especially when computer science has all intentions to do good for society. So Girls Who Code has definitely made a big difference. And this year, to take it a step further, and this is where my boys were able to jump in and really have a blast. Next slide, please. We pulled in 3 3D printers and brought back a student who graduated a couple of years ago who is just super excited about 3D printers. So he's been able to give some time once a month to come back and train some students so that we can have this 3D printer lab. Next slide, please. So what we've done with that, some lab rats, yes, I know, but they are called the South Familia Middle School lab rats. They're ready and able tech students. Focus 100% on the 3D printing lab. They're not part of my ICAT clan that are training other students or making repairs, doing any of those sorts. So they're responsible for finding out how do you actually design, how can you use coding, programming to build things in this computer lab. So we focused it down. They decided with my former student to get into Tinkercad code blocks right now, and then of course use Cura to send it on over into our 3D printing. So next slide, please. So to take us into computer science ed next week, we decided to bring into the code blocks. Unfortunately, I don't have a club focused on this yet, but we will be doing this in my 6th grade computer science class as of next week as well. But we decided to use the code blocks to drum up some excitement next week. So we're actually going to allow students to design the South Vermilion Middle School Christmas ornament. And this is something that they will do during their study hall or during our recreation time that we have. So they can, during their study hall or rec time, come in and talk to the lab rats and gain some help on the code blocks if the independent lessons are not enough. And then they can, of course, work on their design and submit this into myself. And then the crew and I will decide which ornament is worthy of being printed. And then all of the teachers in the school will get that ornament as well as the students. So it sounds really basic, but I have students coding and they're super excited. I have kids coding that I would have never guessed would have been excited. So it's been a really good thing. Next slide, please. So that's what I have. It's not huge, but it's a really good start, and we're drumming up excitement in some really unique ways. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and I can't wait to hear more because Julie has some awesome things up next for us. So up next is Julie Alano.
Thanks, Maria. Can everybody hear me? Yep. Right. So we're switching over to high school now, and main focus I'm going to give you here is a new thing that you can do, which is a Computer Science Honor Society. The Computer Science Honor Society has been around for a little while, but it had previously been run by Code Virginia. So it didn't really quite make sense for schools in other states to have an honor society that was run by Code Virginia. Although I did start mine last year under Code Virginia, but now the Computer Science Teachers Association, which is a national organization, has taken over the Computer Science Honor Society. And you see on your screen there, their new logo. And I will add the link to the Computer Science Teachers Association website into the chat for you. So if you are wanting to look or find information on this, I'll send you right to the link, which I had and now I've lost. But I will get that for you in just a second. And I'll also provide my contact information in there because I don't have that on a slide at all. But here's the information for the Computer Science Honor Society. Next slide. So just some things, if you are interested in doing this, what you need to think about before you jump in. You do need an approval from your principal. I think that's a letter or something, but it just needs to go on your application that you have discussed it with your principal. You as the advisor, so if you are going to be the advisor of the group, you have to be a CSTA Plus member. Computer Science Teachers Association is free to join. If you're not a member, you should become a member at every level. It's for K-12 teachers. We're actually having an Indiana meeting tomorrow, so I can give you those details too. But CSTA Plus is a special membership that gives you more features, and it requires a $50 fee. So I think you can look at having your school pay that, but that is a yearly fee to be a CSTA Plus member. There are discounts offered at sometimes at certain events, so you want to keep an eye out for those too. There is a one-time charter fee, which I'll go over later. The group is required to do a service project, so it's almost very similar to, as Maria described, her Girls Who Code Club. So it's just on another level, at the high school level, and then those hours are required as a part of the Honor Society. And you have to submit an annual report to the Computer Science Honor Society just to maintain your charter. So those are some of the things you got to think about before you start. Next slide, please. So some details you need for the application, obviously just some information about you, your school information. There's this code you have to have for the school, but they give you a link to find that code. Your CSTA chapter affiliation, so that would be CSTA Indiana. So we do have, we were formerly CSTA Hoosier Heartland. We are now CSTA Indiana. And we have 5 regional hubs. And again, we are having kickoff meetings for all those regional hubs tomorrow. So if you haven't been or seen information about that, you can visit our website for the Indiana chapter. And again, you want to join that chapter if you have not done already. And so here's the next link. So indianaCSteachers.org, and there's a link that includes, on that website, it includes information about our kickoff meetings tomorrow. A little late, I know, but you still want to join, and then we'll have more meetings next spring. And then you need your Honor Society name, which is just simply your school, and then Computer Science Honor Society. So those are the things you need for your application. Next slide, please. So cost. So there is cost involved, and obviously you can have your students pay to join, but then you're always concerned about those who may not be able to afford it. So there's some things I'm sure you could work out within your school. So this is an example of one advisor and 20 students, and 10 of them being seniors. So the charter fee is a one-time charter fee of $25. And this is the annual CSTA Plus membership fee for the advisor. And then there's an annual student fee, so $5 for each student to join. The induction pins are $4, the cords are $5, and then the shipping is $10. So that's kind of a little rough breakdown of how much it would cost. So it's very inexpensive. And again, that $25 is a one-time fee. When I started my Honor Society last spring, I did charge the students a fee, and then let them know if there were any issues with that. We worked in our school to find a way to cover that for them. So, and that fee covered, I went ahead and tried to cover induction pins, graduation cords, any fees they might have, so that I didn't have to keep charging other fees later. And the fee structure did change from last year, so now and the cords and the pins are different. So, but I think it'll all be staying the same now since it has switched over to the Computer Science Teachers Association. And so all this information is available on their website as well, and there's a question and answer there as well. Next slide, please. So why should you have a Computer Science Honor Society? So it is a great way to promote computer science in your school and community. So it is actually very similar to a lot of things Maria said about her Girls Code Club. So, but the service project is required, and they are required to get service hours. It does provide a resource to other computer science students. Tutoring is one of the big things that we're doing for service hours. So I know in the past I would have students ask, well, is there somebody that can help me with this class? And it was the highest level computer science class, like AP Computer Science A or Java, which is like the first college course. And I'm like, I don't really know anybody that can help you with it. So now I do have computer Science Honor Society students who can tutor in that class, and it is very helpful for my students to have someone else that they can reach out to. It allows students that may not normally get involved to be involved. So a lot of students, the Computer Science Honor Society looks really good on their resume, and a lot of your computer science students may not be your normal high achieving students, but yet they're good at computer science. And so it allows them to, have something to be in part of and join that they wouldn't normally have. And it also is great that it's now a very high, recognized national organization. I did my induction last spring with all the other honoraries at our school. So there's like the Spanish honorary and the art honorary and all those things. So it gives your students a chance to say, hey, we're just like all the other classes, and helps promote computer science in your school because we have this honor society. And the kids really love the cords. They're all excited about graduation cords. That's one of the big things for high schoolers. Yes. Oh yeah, we want cords. So that's something that they talk about a lot. And it allows students to connect with other students that are like-minded. So they find other students in the honor society that are similar to them, and work with them to promote computer science in the school. They have come out with some new service project ideas on the website. We are working on next week. We're hosting a family code night for Hour of Code, and this year I just found out and just got a grant for us to do that. So the CSTA National and offered Computer Science Honor Societies the ability to apply for a grant to help cover outreach and their service project. So that's one of the things we'll be doing. Next semester, it is also part of the Honor Society that they help promote classes. So as I've always had students do that in the past, this will give them hours and just, kind of give them that extra piece to say, hey, yes, you should take these computer science classes, and then you can be a part of the Computer Science Honor Society. For my school, I made the requirements maybe a little higher than some other schools. Again, this is only currently a high school program, and that's the national, that's what national says. And in my school, I require that they have taken 2 full-year computer science classes, and one of them is AP. So at my school, we offer 6 different computer science classes in the high school. So 2 of them shouldn't be too much of a problem. And again, because we offer so many, I didn't feel like one computer science course was enough to have them join the Honor Society. But it is up to you. The charter and the rules are on their website, so you can decide. But obviously they do, I believe they have to have a B average in any computer science class that they've taken. So that is in the charter. And then you obviously get to elect officers. And so my students, and again, I don't have a ton. Right now I have about 15 students in the Honor Society. I hope to see that grow. We are a large school, so if you are at a smaller school, it may be pretty small to start out. But I think we're also working with some of my other clubs. So as you may have heard, I have a Girls Who Code Club, I have a Code for Change, and I have a student getting ready to start HSE Hacks. So we have quite a few different computer science or programming clubs. So we actually all kind of work together. So even though there's the Computer Science Honor Society, a lot of the students in my other clubs help with Computer Science Honor Society activities. So next week, it's really just anyone who wants to help with the family coding night will be able to come help. And they're all planning activities for that as well. And currently I'm also working on, we are going to be visiting the elementary schools in our school district to help with Hour of Code next week. So right now I'm currently working on that. So I have about 10 different elementary schools that have requested students to come to their school to help with Hour of Code activities next week. And so I'm trying to organize and get my students assigned and paired up to head to those schools. And so the Honor Society, again, I've done that Hour of Code, sending kids to elementaries for a while, but now, the Honor Society students really are, those are the ones that want to do it and are leading the way. So yeah, the CS Ed Week, yeah, having them help with that, it's just part of the part with, promoting computer science. So promoting computer science is one of the big things about the Computer Science Honor Society. So I'll put my contact information in the chat. So if you need to contact me or have any questions about Computer Science Teachers Association, CSTA Indiana, or Computer Science Honor Society, please let me know. I'll be glad to answer those. And so now I think it's time to hand it off to Patty.
Great, thank you. Can you guys hear me? Yep. Perfect. Okay. I'm Patty Cushing. I teach high school computer science in Hammond, and our school is a bit unique in that we are a dual credit program, so that when students graduate, they have their high school diploma, but also a 2-year associate's degree. So I think there are a few other schools, I don't know, signed in today who do that. So some of what we do is unique, but Maria said something during her presentation that I felt like is exactly the same in our district. We are very fortunate that our superintendent is supportive of technology and computer science 100%. We have, as Maria said, full freedom, but a small budget. So we have to be really creative. And so what I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about is just some of the challenges or barriers that many of us have encountered and still do in developing and growing a computer science program, and how we can overcome those challenges. So next slide, please. So these 4 barriers actually came out of some research that the University of Chicago did nationwide. There's a link down there at the bottom, a bit.ly link. But in addition to their research, when a couple weeks ago, several of us computer science teachers got together with Jake in Indianapolis, and just the organic discussion came around to these same barriers. So the first thing is that so many people, students, teachers, don't know what it is that we do. They don't know what it is that we do. They don't have a clear understanding of the difference between computer science and IT, or computer science and networking. And there are resources out there that we can help educate and overcome that. And I'll share those in a minute. But so many people think we're just programming and that's the end of it, or that we build and take apart computers and that's all that we do. And those are both misconceptions. The second thing, regardless of your school district, seems like there's never enough money, there's never enough funding. That can be an issue, and also space limitations can be an issue. School budgets are tight. Principals often have to decide between test scores and different electives, and that's an issue. And so we've got to talk about some ways to overcome that. Guidance counselors, and I'm not guilting them, but guidance counselors and other teachers and principals will often say that they don't know what we do. And so they will make the computer science classes a dumping ground almost. Communication and collaboration is also an issue. Because there are so few of us teaching computer science, it often feels like we are an island. So building community and establishing ambassadors is a great way to help with that. And we'll talk about that on the next slide, please. Okay, so the first thing, the barrier was not a clear understanding of what computer science is. So an opportunity is to increase support across the school district and even in our schools. So there are resources out there, and on every slide I have links. I believe that these are going to be shared out afterwards, but even without the direct links, if you just Google CS for IN or Google any of these that I have in the resources column, you'll get all the information. But there are resources, there are flyers, there are posters, there are pamphlets directed at specific groups, guidance counselors, principals, parents, tons of information out there for free that you can download and print yourself, that you can order online, information that will help explain the specific courses that we offer, but what computer science is, career paths that students can take if they graduate from computer science, earning potential. All the information is there, and we just need to get it out and share it. Once you find the information that you want to share for your district, customize it. You don't have to use exactly what you download. Customize it, but share it district-wide, recruitment materials and curriculum materials, so that there's consistency from school to school. Third thing is, once your administrators and principals have an understanding, encourage them to get involved, helping to promote your program and what it is that you want to do in your school. So that doesn't just mean giving you the thumbs up or giving you budget. You can have students get involved and just film small video snippets, pictures of principals throughout the school, just supporting things that you're doing. Students can share that on the school website, the district site, social media. The kids will be all over it, but you'll be getting your message out to the people that need it the most. Next slide, please. I've listed a lot of free resources here. By no means is this list all encompassing, but also it doesn't mean that things that we have to pay for are bad. I just wanted to start with free and work our way up from there. As far as curriculum and recruitment, those first two rows on here, there's so much out there. We've talked a little bit in the earlier presentations about code.org. Google has a great curriculum put together. Amazon Adhesive, you actually have to apply for that, but they have robust materials that are available. Exploring Computer Science, Beauty and Joy of Computing. There's so much there. And the nice thing, aside from the fact that these are all free, is that you can pick and choose different lessons. Some curricular materials don't allow you to mix and match. Everything that's listed here does. You can combine and customize and do what works for your kids and your community. There are some great grants out there and funding options. I'm sure everybody is familiar with Donors Choose. Google has a lot of scholarships and programs on their site. And this last one, if I'm honest, I have to tell you, I almost didn't put on here because I'm applying for it. But Steelcase, the company that makes filing cabinets and classroom furniture, they have an annual grant. It's for multiple schools, but they will build an active learning classroom for you. So that grant just opened yesterday or Monday. Yeah, yesterday. The application deadline isn't until February, but I would encourage everyone just to go to Google and type in that search term and just see what's available. It's a phenomenal opportunity. Also, as far as space and funding, obviously, at some point, kids are going to need computers or tablets or Chromebooks in order to fully engage in computer science. But there are a lot of things that we can do unplugged. There are a lot of things that we can do at very low or little cost. These pictures on the side here, I use Tinker Toys that I got off of Amazon so that kids can learn about distributed networks and how the internet is built. Our students, we have the headsets that are here in the pictures. Those were from Walmart for $2. So every kid got their own VR headsets. So there's a lot that you can do. We have clubs we've experimented with. We started a Girls Who Code club last year. Most of the girls who were in the club were not computer science students. We had students from health sciences pathway. We had engineering students. So similar to what Maria and Julie were saying, the girls loved it. We actually got to meet Reshma, who founded Girls Who Code. They were inspired by her. They shared their stories. They came back this year, hungry and ready for more. We also, in addition to field trips, we do a lot of what I call in-trips and just setting up video conferences. So last week for our cybersecurity class, we had a video conference where Pondurans out of Indianapolis video chatted with us, talked to our students about what they do. Members of our IT department were here as well. So just really connecting kids and getting them excited and then having them share what's free and what's available. Next slide, please. Thank you. So as far as educating and inspiring others, this is for the barrier of just people not understanding what CS is and it possibly becoming a dumping ground as far as electives and filling schedules. Oftentimes, students will even say at the beginning of the semester, I had this even this year, I don't know how I got in this class. I was just put here. I don't know what this class is about. And fortunately, when they do find out, many of them are interested. But then there is, occasionally the student who doesn't know or seems to not fit or want to be here. So having students share, past or current students share with other kids what we do, share their projects. We post everything all over the school and online. When we have open houses throughout the year, we have literature that is distributed for parents and for students, again, on what we do. I have found it's really important to show an interest in what other teachers are doing so that I can see what are the synergies, what projects could we do together? Like we have criminal justice classes here, so that's a great fit for cybersecurity. History classes, that was also a fit for cybersecurity because we were learning about, and principles, learning about encryption, learning about the Enigma machine. So there are a lot of things that I can share with other teachers that I think fits, but also if they're willing to share, their syllabi with me, then I can find out or suggest possible projects, cross-curricular projects. The kids get excited about it, teachers get a better understanding of what we're doing, and our message gets out there. Offering more CS electives, hopefully that will come in time, and that's going to vary from school to school as far as what can be offered and how those things will fit. But I think it's important for those of us who are currently teaching computer science is to think about and nurture in other teachers if they are interested in teaching computer science. The Pathfinder Summer Institute has been a great resource. I went to that the first time 2 years ago, and there were a lot of teachers there in the code.org sessions who were experienced teachers, but had never taught computer science. And they thought going into it, no way. And at the end of the week, they come out of it just so excited. So talking with teachers in your school, in your district, in your community, encouraging that, sharing those stories, and helping them realize it is possible for them to teach computer science is a big help. Next slide, please. Okay, as our English teachers say, use your words. So the fourth barrier is just poor communication or little collaboration. And sometimes that's just scheduling, like we can't collaborate with other teachers when we want to. Posting, I've got 2 videos here on the side. These are both code.org videos. They are excellent, especially the first one. If you haven't seen it, Computer Science is Changing Everything, because it clearly shows that computer science is relevant to all disciplines. When this year's freshmen graduate, the jobs that they will have, most of those jobs don't even exist yet. That's how quickly technology is changing. But if we can get more students in our computer science classes to understand and learn the skills of analytical thinking and problem solving, and how they can apply these things, being creative, how they can apply them to other disciplines and other fields, they will be so much better prepared for the real world. Again, developing cross-curricular projects is a very big deal. I also invite teachers to come to my classes just if they have a free period or some time to drop in or out, just to see what we're doing. And maybe that will spark something for them. And they can also then see what CS is. And then finally, creating community. That has been very helpful for me. I'm the only computer science teacher in my school, and in our district, we have a few other teachers that are part-time high school computer science teachers, but I'm the only full-time computer science teacher. So I do feel in some ways very isolated, but having gone, as I mentioned, to the first Pathfinder Summer Institute, I connected with teachers I never would have met before. From Indiana, we set up a Facebook group 2 years ago, and we still communicate, and we'll be in class saying, has anyone done this lesson? What did you do? So just the support and the ideas that come out of that has been phenomenal. Our district is also fortunate enough, we have an instructional technology e-coach, and she collaborates with all the schools K through 12 in our district, and she's phenomenal in getting out to the schools, training, supporting them. She actually co-facilitated Girls Who Code with me, but she also connects me to teachers that I wouldn't meet otherwise. She tells me what other schools are doing, what I can do, and how we can collaborate. So that's a great resource if you have a person or people like that in your district. And then finally, everyone else has mentioned CS Ed Week coming up. Similar to what Julie's doing of having the high school students go to the elementary schools, we are inviting some elementary and middle school students from our feeder schools to come here so they can see our space, what we're doing, and get them excited about our programs. Next slide, please. That's all I had. I thank you for participating. I do have my contact information on here, so feel free to reach out to me to ask questions or share ideas.
All right. Thank you, Genevieve, Maria, Julian, for presenting. We have a few minutes to some questions if anyone has them. While you're thinking about questions or as they come in, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. Just don't forget that next week is Computer Science Education Week, and if you have activities or plans for your students or schools next week, be sure to share it on Twitter. Use the hashtags CS4IN or hashtag INEdChat, tag at EducateIN so we can keep in touch with what you're doing and see all the amazing activities that you are doing to get your students excited about computer science. So A couple other things I did want to share. If you want to reach out to any of the 4 presenters today or some of our other Indiana computer science champs, I'm going to paste a link the computer science champs page of our Department of Ed website. Are a variety of teachers, including the 4 that presented today, that are highlighted there with their contact information and their roles, and they're all more than happy to help or give insight or perspective on any questions or ideas that you might have. Additionally, we do have the computer science page of our website in the chat as well. There's a lot of information there related to um, legislated requirements, Girls Who Code partnership, grant opportunities, professional development opportunities, and a variety of other internal and external resources. So be sure to check that out. In particular, I wanted to make you all aware that we were given quite a bit of funding from the General Assembly in this past legislative session to be able to provide a variety of professional development options to teachers grades K through 12, specifically in computer science. So we're working with 5 different professional development providers to offer, again, free professional development across all grade levels. So if you're interested in that or needing professional development, looking to expand course offerings, etc., definitely don't hesitate to reach out, and I'm happy to connect you to whatever opportunities and resources that I'm aware of that are available. So I'll put my email address in the chat as well. And I think that's all I have. Any closing comments?
I do not. There haven't been any other questions that have come in, so I think everybody has gotten lots of great information. Hopefully, it'll take some time to digest, but take that back with you. Contact anybody who has shared their contact information today. Jake is the best go-to person if you can't remember somebody or something that you heard about. But thank you all for joining us today. I have recorded the webinar today as long as the technology worked as it is supposed to. That webinar will be posted later next week on our YouTube channel, which you can get to from our website. But like I said, I will also share that in the PGP email that I send to you, as I can't jump out and get that now. So thank you all for attending. Thank you to our awesome presenters for sharing lots of great information today. And everyone, have a great Tuesday night.